Hello guys, welcome to Hot Movies again. Today I will explain you a 2018 American spy thriller movie, Red Sparrow. The film begins with the introduction of our two main characters, Dominika Ivarova and Nate Nash. Dominika is tuned into music, while Nate listens to a coded recording. Dominika walks to the theater and starts to apply cosmetics as Nate decrypts the code and pulls a gun from beneath his desk. As Dominika begins to perform, we see Nate Nash, a CIA agent, enter the park to meet his Russian operative, kitty named Marble. Nate gets cornered by Russian police and fires a gun to divert attention away from his mole. He is pursued to town, where he manages to enter the American consulate in time. Dominika's leading man lifts and spins her through the air, and as he goes to get her down, he drops her and she lands brutally. Nate collapses to the ground and surrenders as Dominika falls and breaks her ankle. Dominika's uncle Ivan, the SBR's deputy director, pays her a visit and offers her a position working with him. He also shows her photos of her lead man kissing the girl, who replaced her in the ballet dance. Dominika realizes she was dropped for a reason and sets out to avenge the duo. When she gets into the theater, she finds the two ballet leads enjoying an intimate moment in a bathroom. She hits them both hard with her walking stick before fleeing. When she goes home, her mother is unable to get up, and it becomes evident to Dominika that if she wants to provide adequate care for her mother, she will have to accept her uncle's work. Dominika is currently getting ready as her uncle's voice delivers instructions. She is assigned the task of seducing Dmitry Astanov for information, yet after she enters his room, he begins to rape her. While this happens, another SBR agent enters the room and strangles Dmitry with a piece of wire around his neck. Dmitry's blood pools on Dominika, who is taken away by the SVR agent. Dominika is offered two options: train as an agent or face death for witnessing Dmitry's murder. Dominika is taken to a government institution to train as a sparrow. Here she encounters the matron, who threatens her with a bullet in the head if she cannot serve her nation. During the training session, matron summons Dominika and a boy called Victor to the front of the class and instructs them to strip. Victor agrees, but Dominika rejects it. Additionally, we learn that Nate has returned to Washington for his debrief, where he has been suspended from all international assignments. Nate claims that he has been working with Marble for 3 years and that Marble will not deal with anyone else. Dominika's training proceeds with activities like shooting, lock-picking, and learning to use and detect various substances. While Nate is in a meeting with the CIA, Dominika appears in her training. He tells them a story that makes him think Marble is still alive. Because the CIA has been unable to contact Marble, they assign Nate one final mission: meet Marble in Budapest and get him to communicate through one of the other agents. The purpose of a sparrow, according to the matron at State School 4, is that every human being is a puzzle with a missing piece. A sparrow must identify the true need of the other person and fill that void. The students are allocated to turned soldiers and ordered to look for their requirements. Dominika chooses a peaceful guy and brings him to her room. However, when she is showering, a fellow sparrow rushes in and attempts to rape her. She yanks the shower handle off and hits him with it. Then we witness Dominika's uncle Ivan discussing Nate with prominent members of the SVR, including General Korknoy. They are aware that Nate will attempt to contact their mole, and they are eager to dispatch another agent to figure out the mole's identity. Despite the fact that Dominika created friction with the matron due to her refusal to follow instructions, she is offered the job in Budapest. She needs to get closer to Nate, establish trust and look for moles. Dominika moves into an apartment with another agent named Marta. She is eager to make contact with Nate, but he is astute enough to recognize her as a Russian agent. When Dominika inspects Marta's room, she discovers that she has been tasked with acquiring confidential intelligence from a top American staff member named Stephanie Busha. Nate invites Dominika to dinner, but she does not show up and instead waits outside for him to depart. She now follows him to his apartment and convinces him to talk about the event in the park that we saw at the start of the film. Ivan contacts Dominika, and she informs him that she is establishing trust with Nate and has obtained information regarding the night at the park. When Ivan presses her on why she isn't progressing faster, she explains that she is assisting Marta with her assignment. When Dominika arrives at her flat, she discovers that Marta has been murdered mercilessly for disclosing the specifics of her task. Dominika faces threats if she fails to provide results for the agency. She will face the same fate. Dominika approaches Nate and informs him of the Russian scheme. He offers her a job with the CIA and assures her that he will never treat her like her uncle does. Dominica succeeds in a lie detector test and accepts their first mission, which is to meet with Miss Voucher and exchange intelligence for false CDs to present to the Russians. She completes the mission, but when she exits the hotel, she is apprehended by Russians and returns home. She is being tortured severely here, and she has been constantly asked if she supplied Miss Voucher to the Americans. When she says no for the first time, she is stripped naked and placed in a chamber with her hands tied to the ceiling, while water falls down on her. When she replies no for the second time, she is hit with a hammer across her legs, her arms, and at last her head. The last time Dominica says she did not offer the Americans a Miss Voucher. She is threatened with a gun, and when the trigger gets pulled, it is evident that the gun was not loaded. Ivan enters the room and approaches Dominica. When he tells her that he can only provide her with so much protection, she answers by telling her uncle that this is all part of her plan. She had to persuade the Americans that they could trust her. She intended to give Nate a cause to believe in her, and now that she's been tortured, Nate will have complete faith in her. Dominica requests permission from her uncle to return and show her ability to complete the task quickly. At this point, we're left to speculate which side she's on. Upon her return to Budapest, Dominica reconnects with Nate. They embrace warmly, and their concern for one another appears real. Dominica awakens in the middle of the night to discover that Nate is no longer sleeping beside her. She enters into the kitchen and finds Nate entangled to a chair while an SVR agent mercilessly tortures him. Dominica is taken aback by this, but she understands what she must do. So she volunteers to assist the Russian in extracting information by peeling off pieces of Nate's skin. Nate screams in pain, but Dominica continues to do so as confidence between Dominica and the SVR agent grows. He lets his guard down just long enough for Domino to strike him and liberate Nate. Now they work jointly to bring down the Russian, but not without suffering injuries themselves. While Dominica recovers in the hospital, it appears that her life is coming to an end. She has revealed her true identity to the Russians by saving Nate's life. General Korknoy arrives to speak with her, a man we witness throughout the film to be steadfast and menacing. Just when it appears that all hope has been gone, Korknoy makes the unexpected revelation that he is the mole. Korknoy is impressed by Dominica's hard work and dedication, and he encourages her to give him up in order to gain the Russians' full faith. She may then take over the position by providing Russian intelligence to America. Korknoy accepts his destiny and waits for the Russians to arrive and execute him. On the airfield, a group of Russians and Americans gather to trade moles. Nate grabs Dominica's arm and wonders how she managed to give up the mole so simply. He is upset about her decision. Then we see Marvel emerge from the chopper, carrying a bag over the head. Nate expresses his dismay further by assuring Dominica that the Russians will never allow them to capture Marvel alive. She claims that one day he will realize what she accomplished, yet Nate insists that he will not, as he is not in the habit of discarding people. Dominica moves closer to the Russians, while Marvel moves closer to the Americans. All that remains for Nate to do is authenticate the identity of the mole. In a shocking final twist, Dominica has revealed that the mole is not Korknoy, but her uncle Evan. In a flashback, we learn that Dominica has been working for a long time to implicate her uncle, removing glass from Nate's apartment and putting it in Ivan's, as well as opening a bank account in Ivan's name and receiving money from the CIA. Ivan has a look of resignation in his eyes, and as he passes Dominica in the exchanging proxies, he says, "You have killed me." To which she responds, "Didn't I do well, uncle?" They go past each other, but Ivan is shot dead as he approaches the Americans. The Russians grab a stunned Dominica and shove her aboard the aircraft. She is later awarded a Medal of Honor by the Russian government. Korknoy nods as the audience applauds. Finally, we see Domino return to care for her mother. When she answers the phone, there is no voice, only the sound of classical ballet music, which makes her smile. The movie ends here. If you love the video, then please leave a like and comment which movie should I recap next.